We begin with West Asia. Harrowing videos of Israeli hostages held in Gaza have been released, sparking outrage and condemnation.
And there's also a demand for an immediate ceasefire and a hostage deal. Now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he is shocked by the conditions of the hostages in captivity. The video released by the Islamic Jihad group shows 22-year-old Rom Braslavsky, an Israeli-German national, speaking directly to the camera in tears, visibly emaciated and physically weak. Braslavsky says he has been a prisoner in Gaza for 2 years, held by the Al-Quds brigades, and says that he is on the verge of death.
Another shows Eviatar David in a Gaza tunnel saying he was not eating for days and is digging his own grave. Netanyahu drew parallels between Hamas and the Nazis and said that he is now filled with an even stronger determination to free the hostages. He requested the help of International Committee of the Red Cross to aid hostages in Gaza.
They are starving them like the Nazis starved the Jews. And when I see these videos, I understand exactly what Hamas wants. They do not want a deal. They want to break us using these horror videos. And through the false horror propaganda, it is spreading around the world. But we will not break. I am filled with an even stronger determination to free our hostages, to eliminate Hamas, to ensure that Gaza no longer poses a threat to the state of Israel.
The European Union, France and Germany, they condemned the videos of the hostages and insisted the Palestinian group must have no role in the territory's future. French President Emmanuel Macron called these videos evidence of Hamas' inhumanity without bounds and complete cruelty.
In response, Hamas said that hostages are being given the same food as Gaza's population, adding they will not receive any special privileges. The group said it would only allow the Red Cross to provide aid if humanitarian corridors into Gaza are opened.
On Sunday, 7 military aircraft from Jordan, France, Germany, Belgium and the UAE, they conducted coordinated airdrops over Gaza, delivering more than 60 tons of humanitarian supplies.
This operation is a collaboration between France and Jordan and other many countries, and Jordan is in charge of the delivery of food and supplies that we are delivering to Gaza. So France don't really know because when it arrives already conditioned and ready to deliver. So we don't have the exact definition of what is in there. French people and French military people are actually making sure that the loads are correctly set up for the drop, but we don't have the exact content. It's just the weight and the basic value.
And despite the deliveries, many in Gaza, especially households lacking a strong adult male, say they are struggling to receive food and are starving.
We never get our fair share of the aid. My husband is paralyzed, and there are widows and women like me who can't secure food for their children. Some young men take the aid and sell it at high prices. I am helpless and cannot afford to buy it. I throw myself into danger to bring food to my children. We hope the world ensures a fair distribution mechanism, especially UNRWA and international organizations. Aid should be delivered through text messages so that everyone in need gets their share. Only certain people benefit and resell the aid. We can't afford it. It's unjust.
And a United Nations video shows the aftermath of one food distribution attempt. 7 bodies loaded onto a donkey cart after reportedly being shot while trying to reach aid.
In the past 24 hours, 6 more people, including children, died of starvation or malnutrition, according to the UN, bringing the war's total hunger-related death toll to 175.
All right, for more on this, we're now being joined live by Adrian Calamil. He's joining us from New York. He's a fellow at the Arabian Peninsula Institute and an author of forthcoming book on Hezbollah. Adrian, always a pleasure having you. Thanks so much for joining us here on World DNA. Adrian, let me start off with Hamas clearly wants a reaction coming out of Israel. They're using the hostages now, as they have been using as their last cards, to get some kind of a deal. Do you think they're going to get the reaction from Israel to come to the negotiating table, or will Israel continue on the stance that they've had so far?
Great to see you, Siobhan and Jyotsna, and good evening to all your viewers. That's a great question. I don't think it's going to bring the desired outcome that Hamas is looking for. I don't see this moving much past this because what Hamas is asking for is, if you look at it, what they've really done is kind of weaponized the aid, if you look at it. And that one Palestinian refugee was talking about it, how individuals are coming along and selling it off. And we see lorries coming in that have just been basically hijacked with Hamas gunmen on the top. And they refuse to use the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, or GHF, because they want their own control mechanisms over the aid that are coming in. So what they've kind of done is drawn this false moral equivalency between the starving of the hostages, and that they're not being treated any worse than the Palestinian people. But the fact is, the Hamas fighters are well fed, and they're holding on to the aid and selling it off and making a profit at the same time.
And that being said, we still have Netanyahu, who has now said that he is now filled with an even stronger determination to free the hostages. What do you think? What do you make of this statement? Do we think that he will take any step towards that?
Oh, that's a great question, Jyotsna. We've seen so many attempts made. I will say attempts, strategies used, trying to move, Hamas, defeat Hamas in one part of Gaza, only to move on to another part, and hoping possibly that the hostages are there. But as we've seen with the one hostage, he's in an underground tunnel. And in any case where we've seen any type of exchanges, it was through some mediated deal where you had hostages exchanged that were either dead or alive, moving over to Israel. And this was very early on. And then we had a couple of commando operations that are very high risk, and you're going to sustain casualties, and that's something that the IDF is wrestling with. And it's also the whole issue of, when the IDF does try to make a, let's say, commando raid to release a hostage here or there, is Hamas or Palestinian Islamic Jihad just going to execute that hostage? So this war from the very beginning, when they brought the hostages back over to Gaza, it really shaped, it created a really difficult dynamic, and there's just no other way to say it.
Yeah, Adrian, let me just come in there quickly. We've seen those visuals of Gazans who are the death toll because of malnutrition is increasing by the day. It was 169 till yesterday, it's 175 now. These are the figures that have come out. We really don't know what the actual toll really is. And then on the other side, we're also seeing visuals of these two hostages. Just 20 remain alive. 2 of them are already in this kind of an emaciated state. What is really the end game here? Because people are suffering, the hostages are suffering, Gazans are suffering en masse, but there is completely no bridging ground between Israel and Hamas even now. All world leaders have done whatever they could.
Yeah, there really isn't, and that's kind of where we are. It's Hamas wants to be able to survive where they are, and it's all about survival for them. And for Israel, it's getting the hostages back, which is increasingly seeming very difficult and unlikely. And it's also making sure that Hamas is not able to launch another October 7th years down the road from Gaza, with the Palestinian people getting caught in the middle. It's a horrible situation. Yeah.
True. And there must be an outrage even in Israel. It's because till now, people were fearing that these hostages might die because of the attacks which might happen, but now it's also starvation.
Yeah, it's starvation, it's propaganda. We saw this with one of the earlier hostage exchanges with a young female that was handed over. She came back weighing something like 65, 70 pounds, possibly less, and was executed. So this was intentional, and it was a deliberate message, and terrorism. It's not to terrorize the hostage, it's to terrorize the Israeli population, and it's also to create unrest within the Israeli population, within the government as well.
Adrian, thanks so much for joining us here on the show. There seems to be no light at the end of this tunnel, at least even now. That's just what we need to leave it at this point and hope for the best. That was Adrian Calamel joining us on the broadcast. Thanks so much.
Thank you.